Can I please get an internet connection that wants to work with me? You say you're streaming now. Okay. It's like the third attempt at this. Okay, this is, yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. Unique contraption. I read about it in a book while I was studying, that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often use bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really, that sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes. In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just everyone is busy, that's all. Okay. Reject the chicken again. It's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat on the floor here? No, I'm not a dog, Sasada-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-san didn't like the chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. He didn't touch it, which means all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on Earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Suddenly now I have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Oh, look over there. A crewman? You mean? He wasn't there before, was he? That's what I thought. Why don't we try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again, but I suppose I could try. Okay, so now we examine you. Is that something wrong, Naruhara-san? Oh no, there's a crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes, what can I do for you? I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board the ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I expect to see this man on board. Perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Okay, so what are your special orders? So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed like a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what happened? For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was the Minister of Justice, Jinoku, who pushed me for his overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could it even been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Mrs. Jigoku said she'd be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment. Nozogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector? So if there's anything at all I can do to help now, just say the word. Permission to investigate. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, do you? You're not the killer. Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman will surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm gonna need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how... There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to... Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhara-san. By presenting me with a piece of evidence that I already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hasanaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Right, yes. I think I might know what we can use. See if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Okay, so we need to have something that shows us a connection to the next door room. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. The ventilator clearly joins the next door cabin. That's right. So if we can investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you I'd lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Izogi-san safe. It's the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment, then, Naruhara-san. You just select move and you can leave the cabin at last. Okay, so that was enough to convince him. Let's go ahead and save real quick. Finally out of that cabin. To admit, that wasn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. And this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazama-sama was being sent on a study tour by the government. That's why he was being put in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in the steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. There's another crewman keeping watch. He looks enormous, even if he's sitting down. The door next to him leads to second-class accommodations. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you were used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. Okay, so let's examine. Let's start over here. Ah, a trap for kitchen mice. Yes, we have plenty of these back home in Japan. Though they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think this is what's called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese? I don't know what that tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap out shut on your fingers. Really? But I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple weeks is Kasuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Who are you? I'll find a snack for you later. What do you think this is? It's very pleasing. It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm? It says, press only in times of emergency. Looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it. This is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, we'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everyone would just stop, this ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that won't affect anyone else. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator called next to. Yes, the ventilator for which Kazuma-sama wrote he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in the cabin could help solve the particular mystery. Let's ask. Oh, excuse me, we, need to get inside this cabin here. The sailor's eyes speak volumes. They're clearly saying, keep out. That's what I wrote on the sign, we put over the wardrobe doors. Although this man's version is definitely more effective. It doesn't look like he's gonna let us pass. That's a problem. Okay, so we still could explore around a little bit. I'm gonna save it just in case. Take a look at the map. This looks like a plan for the SS Bura. It shows each deck, look. The Bura is a large ship, steamship with a triple skin hull, a marvel of engineering. It's been playing on my mind for a while, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's actually quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes. They're not metal, but they're enormous lumps of earth, many times larger than the ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. That didn't quite answer that question, but okay. There's a huge book on top of the table there. There's a pen next to it. Yes, the ship looks like a, this looks like a ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. Thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Okay, so that wasn't added in the court record. Okay. That's the way to the second-class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it, just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman will surely shoot you dead. Dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there? No, I started with my own talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Excuse me, but can I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? So sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid? Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I'm not a sailor. My mother gave me a name. I'm senior crewman Biff Stroganoff. Of course you are. Well, that's the best thing, is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in finest part of Buya steamship for very important persons. Sort of very important persons. Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean. Stroganoff is no animal. Thank you? If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Azagi's currently occupied? Susato-san, do you understand it? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. It sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Azagi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Rylot. He's a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Rylot is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Can you tell us when Mr. Rylot came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since the gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important, isn't that right? That is not your business. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Da, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in, or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about Student Boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at all at the time? Anything unusual? Yet, Susato-san, do you understand it? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises, or sense anything wrong in some way. I said no. Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. Okay. We still need to get in the room somehow, though. That is enough. I can say no more. Wait, that's not what I said. I cannot say more now. Oh. It's time for me to report the captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second-class area is saying locked at all times. You escape when lobster whistles on top of mountain, or as English say, when pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate the area properly, shall we? Definitely. Okay. Can we take this book now that he's gone? Let's just sure this is the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank. Nothing to report. We could probably go to the door now, right? Because he's going to be gone. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Because everything in the cabin could help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. No answer. Out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. What was that? Someone inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes. I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off the hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. Does it? Then how can I dispatch this muscular urge? What pray can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Good lord. Who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there is nobody but me in this cabin. True. This old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now. Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimespy Rylot, I believe. Yes, that's me. And you are... I am the one, the and only, the actual Hairlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt? No. I'm a great detective among great detectives, one who adores the cover of covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. I man using that magazine like a business card. Detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there won't appear to be a lady concealing herself in the wardrobe this time. So might I be as bold to ask you to open that small traveling case? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in that small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk? Don't look at me. Yeah, for some reason it's moving. Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the case just shook. Leave, now. Otherwise I'll call the steward. This is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimespy Rylot. There's no doubt about it. The strange Russian man is hiding something. I cannot agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Let's save it real quick. Mr. Rylot, we'd like to talk to you about something. No. Oh, I don't want to talk. Leave my cabin now. Oh, this is going terribly. Not getting anywhere here. I agree. There may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get someone with Mr. Rylot. Is he gonna say the same thing? Mr. Rylot, I'd like to talk to you about something. No? Okay, cool. So he's just didn't not be helpful at all. What do you think you're doing? This is my cabin. Get out. Did you have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? No. Huh, what a pity. I think we're out of luck. Doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree, there will be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Okay, so it's basically forcing me to do this. Got it! Do you have a moment, Mr. Sholmes? You'd only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed. I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call upon my great powers of deduction in the service. Oh? And it would seem the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on, for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in his cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please. Well then, what you're about to see may well astound you. For I'm about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Wait, what? Could this man be more of a hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time it occurs to me. Is this fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes? I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially at first meeting, but I once read, "It's a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment." Shh. I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Just as I thought. Yes, I've quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates for all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I've reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you've been discovered. Does it not? No. Oh, Naruhodo-san, I never imagined I'd witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction? Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What? What affable twaddle? Oh yes. I've read all about it countless times in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, and now I've experienced the astonishing impact of this great deduction firsthand. It's like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color has drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well, then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it is I arrived at the pair of conclusions. So I do cordially invite you to invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. Oh, what is this? The game is afoot. Topic 1. Old man's identity. What is this? So the dubious-looking Mr. Rush and Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place, is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. And we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away that copious beard you sport. Now moving on. The question then begged is, why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is simple. It's plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front-page article, which it would appear you have been read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having known the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at the very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of that crime, over there. Ah, yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before your very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps? One slight enough to fit therein? Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me. We're not well suited to life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'eil... I don't even know how to say that. Coup d'eil that betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your fugitive, furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another, more stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page, renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction, and according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. This concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of the Russian enigma. Alamensky? Sato-san? That wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes. Could you come over here for a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all. Go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Yes, I recall our discussion earlier, and at the time I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylat does look more like the man than you do. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina? Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child in that case, even if you pushed really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out of the case. Some years ago, I've read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain litheness in their body. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case. Oh dear, I might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. This whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seems a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Mrs. Pseudo. It's just one or two keywords in his deduction that seem to be let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some keywords in his deductions? Yes, but very tactfully. I feel like if we could do that, it would unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions. Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. It's not that funny. Ah, and you, my good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment to look... Where are your handcuffs? Huh? How did... I felt they might hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrist when we are finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let's begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. So the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylat, obviously what catches his eye in the first place, is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Huh. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylat either. Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a keyword here, Naruhodo-san, and see if that helps. Right, but how? I think we should start by taking a good, long, hard look at Mr. Roylat. I wonder if it's really his beard he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better, then what? I'm gonna leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could use to switch around in the last sentence. Exactly what was Mr. Roylat you're really going to use those enormous shears for? You got a thick hat. It's very thick hat, isn't it? That's a secret, you see, Mr. Naruhito-san. Do you know? Secret? What? Well, before we left Japan, I took some time to study various foreign countries. Russia is a land of unimaginable cold. A thick hat is a secret to keeping warm. Without one, I'd rather your brain would freeze. That was one of my many fascinating snippets of information in Oh Mother, Not Russia. I think maybe you picked the wrong book there. Ooh, what's this? What the? What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No, the color is not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Roylet's head? And how's it growing from underneath his thick black hair? Yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here.
Yes!
You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise details it's intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman, and judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one still very much in her youth. Oh no. If only I'd managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is, why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article of the Revolutionary. That was a shock. No idea the old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise, Naruhito-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts of Mr. Sholmes. I'm doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. It's strictly business. Yes, I understand. Say no more. Anyway, let's focus on the next part. Oh, God damn it, these freaking bots. I swear to God. Bye. Let's focus on the next part of Mr. Slum's seduction, shall we? The evidence he picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true. Given that Mr. Royla is actually a woman. Exactly, he, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now. Yes, let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best. The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right. You've hit the nail on the head. A renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear that we're finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nikolina Pavlova. Please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing a more grievous crime. And the proof of that crime, over there. Ah, yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. I assure you, the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies within the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, the traveling case. The woman is the ballerina. She's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside the traveling case as well. No, that's not right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? See, I'm going to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Naruhito-san. Do you have any idea, do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes? Stop it. Anyway, I see something else here that shows what the woman is up to. Oh, hello. Waste paper basket? Let's have a little look inside. Naruhito-san. It's poor etiquette to go sniffing through someone else's rubbish, you know. Those eyes. She's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now. However, these are special circumstances, I think. Exactly, we have no choice. There's hardly anything in here at all. Oh, well, that's a little disappointing. The dazzling tiara. I've never seen anything like it. Are those real diamonds, do you think? Naruhito-san, try it on. What? Me? Is it usually girls who wear tiaras? Would you like to try it on? No, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful. Why does this tiara look familiar? I feel like I've seen it somewhere recently. Okay, so we're gonna present the tiara. The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in a Novich ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear the identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And the reporters believe this item is worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you've committed is theft. No. Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking the precious tiara with you. I have no one, no friends, no family, all alone, and I need money. And that's still the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia? It belongs to me. This girl's only 15 years old and she's run away by herself? She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I will tell you everything. There is no point in hiding it now. Come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. What do you mean? Your sons have refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It's reasonable to conclude that there exists some reason why you wish it remained closed. Is it not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there's no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a good idea to the contents of your case, even before I ever laid eyes on them. Dear me. You're not well suited to a life of crime, are we? You're careless. Cocktail betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open the case is written in the books on the shelf. It's completely changed tact with his deduction now. I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why does he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? It's just a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely the reason why the young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still, Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. Then there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. It must be somewhere in the same area where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree, that's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. Probably the rules of passage, right? These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Bura. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects. Damn it. Keep weapons or other dangerous objects. Pets are also strictly forbidden. It's exactly the same notice in our cabin, too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules. Dear, I'm sure the punishment would be severe, Naruhodo-san. You'd probably be left adrift in the freezing cold ocean, or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. So I've actually been serving time for weeks now, haven't I?
Yes!
Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of this passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside the case of yours is something forbidden from the carriage of this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case. Is the last item listed on the forbidden in the vessel rules of passage. Pet. This is a fun little mini game.
Is it? I can't remember. He cares.
Wait, 1 second. Okay. So now that we fixed this deduction, so clearly you aren't who you said you were. No, I'm not Grisby Verlot. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel. which couldn't have been easy. Roya is is a huge steamship with a vast crew. She really snuck on board without being noticed? In other words, to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman, and you intended to sever all connections with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. Personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out that scream we heard from outside the cabin? The veritable tinkering of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. Like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how you say, disguise myself, so that no one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man? B. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper. Right on the page, there was a picture of me. As fastly as possible, I picked up the scissors in my hand and... in that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? Things do indeed happen like that from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? Ah, come on, Internet. I don't know when the last... Fuck. Okay, the problem is I don't know how bad ago that started giving me issues. So I don't know how much was actually missed, and fuck. Alright, whatever. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You were right. It was my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew, your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night. Yes, alright, I will tell you. Well, Mr. Nobuhodo? Wasn't it something, Mr. Sholmes' great deduction? It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. It's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Oh, and one more thing. Yes? What? Observe your wrists. How do you slip them back on? Your hands are cuffed again? What? But how? True to my word, I've restored your shackles. When and why? There's still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Nobuhodo. Sorry to say. Can't be helped at the moment. Can't it, really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out just what the Speckled band that Kazuma wrote about in the diary really was. Okay, so let's see. What will you tell us now? What happened last night? Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. Oh. That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people were talking? Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. You're not helping. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened. Miss Pavlova, is there anything you could tell us? I don't know. Sorry. But all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Steve. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novich Ballet. Yes, I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I'll never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. Start a new life. You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you have the striking tiara as a reminder. But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. Novich Ballet gives us only a little food and water. I must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I'd stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes, and the crew of the ship, they've all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in the cabin. If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates the most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo? Me? Well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but... Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Brio stopped at no port last night. That's right, of course. So how is it, pray tell, that you came to be on board? Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard. This is not your business. Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry, what was that? It's how the Russian newspapers described one of my many performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel. Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Mr. Sholmes once said, I can never resist a touch of dramatic. Seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, in fact. Yes, Mr. Shoei. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. So the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell. Don't tell any of the crew. They found out my precious... and that burly Russian would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard. So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes. But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy, is it? It is, isn't it? Maybe an adorable little rabbit? You credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may well ask. I have no idea. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the true nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken. Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and when an adversary strikes, it could simply satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you'd eat your friends. I'll remember that. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed. She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I'd like to show her, I think. Maybe she'd be able to shed some light on it. Wait, we have something to show her? Oh, wait. Maybe... Maybe she could tell us about this. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, and he wrote in the last night before he died something a bit little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I could hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh. Miss Pavlova, has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? No. I don't know anything. Oh? Okay, my internet's really starting to piss me off. I don't know where I'm getting these massive frame drops. Excuse me, Miss Roulette. Yes, what? Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. We must come to Captain's quarters at once. Please. Alright, I will come now. What? You must leave. Now. Oh no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roulette. Get out. Passenger said out. Or do you want me to throw you out? Looks like we have to leave investigating the cabin until later. What a pity. So we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. She stopped there, huh? Alright. Still don't have any real clues. I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I wish we managed to find some clue as to what the speckled band might be. We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door. He's clearly glaring at us as to say, don't even think about it. Wait a minute. What is it? Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Yes, he's completely disappeared. When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring that the security were securely back on my wrists. Okay. Can't go into Miss Pavlova's. Can we talk to you? I really wish we had a chance to look around Miss Pavlova's cabin. What? Why do you look like that? You want something? Maybe you want me to throw you out again? No, definitely not that. Next time I have to throw you out, I'll show you where lobsters spend winter. Understand? Understand. Maybe I should steer clear of him until he's forgotten my face. I don't think he'll ever forget your face, Naruhara-san. Okay. It's weird that we can't pick this up yet. Because if we know she was on board the ship at some point, it's kind of weird that there was, like, nothing to report in the book, right? I really don't think there's anything out here we can explore, so let's go back to our cabin. It looks like they're still investigating in here. Yes, on that subject, I wonder if Inspector Hasanaga's unscathed. What do you mean unscathed? Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhara-san? Do you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the captain about it. He said he'd lay his life on the line for you. Yes, but I'm sure he was exaggerating. See what he has to say for himself. He might have some new information for us. You never know. Okay, let's talk to you. You. Where did you go? Sorry, I went to the cabin next door. Why? Who gave you permission for this? Well, Seaman Hosanaga did. Huh. The new Japanese, was it? Later, I roll him into a ball and throw him in the cold room. Phew, he's gone back to guarding the door. Hope Inspector Hosanaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on our account. He's really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he? When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a steak at like Carnival. That could be a very long time from now, Moroharu-san. Oh shit, you got fucked up. You're back. Inspector? What happened to you? Your face is... Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches. Maybe a bear, maybe? When I told you the captain that I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pump me with his fist and then toss me overboard. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really. Looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line for if we had to. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little bit of the neighboring cabin. Yes, so I understand. I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Herlock Sholmes. I don't think he was German, though. That explains it. Shall we compare notes then? Shall we? We can tell you what we found out. Yes, let's do it. What? Nikolina Pavlova. She's in the cabin next door. Do you know who she is? Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel? Oops. I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case, at least. Oh, how? Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they? Oops. No, I've definitely upset him. Inspector, has your investigation in here proved fruitful? If I'm to be honest,